I'm gonna be good. All right.
Oh, but a kiss. Okay. I was like, come on, with the cursing, please. Let me just, I'll see you later when you get back. All right?
Listen, my booking is one day. You handle the kids. You handle your mother.
This is some bullshit. I'm not rushing out of here, and you're not going to dictate. Look, I'm moving the pillow. Have a good trip, Yandy. All right? This is some stuff, baby.
All right.
Chaos has officially hit a fever pitch in the Harris household, and this time, there's no hiding behind calm smiles or family dinners. Mendeecees Harris walked into his home expecting peace, but what he found was his wife gone, his mother standing her ground, and years of quiet tension finally blowing up like a bomb no one saw coming. Yandy Smith Harris had been kicked out of her own house by his mom. Not a metaphor, not a misunderstanding, a full-on eviction. This isn't just a family disagreement. This is betrayal sitting at the dinner table with folded arms. Judy's decision to force Yandy out wasn't just a power move. It was a message. And when Mendeecees realized what had gone down, the man who usually holds it together snapped. Mother versus wife. Blood versus love. Respect versus control. Welcome to the showdown no one saw coming, but everyone's watching. The house that once echoed with laughter, late-night conversations, and the noise of a big, blended family was suddenly silent. But it wasn't peace. It was the kind of silence that comes right after a bomb goes off. Yandy Smith Harris stood in the doorway, suitcase in hand, her chest tight with disbelief. For years, she'd been the glue holding this family together through prison sentences, reunions, tears, victories, and chaos. But in one single explosive moment, she was treated like an outsider in the home she built with Mendeecees Harris. The flashpoint came after months, if not years, of quiet tension between Yandy and Mendeecees' mother, Judy. The two women had never fully clicked. Judy loved her son fiercely, protectively. Yandy, equally strong-willed, saw herself as the woman who'd stood by him through everything. The one who deserved the authority and respect that came with being his wife. That clash of power had always hovered beneath the surface. But no one expected it to erupt like this. It began like any other day. Judy had been staying at the house for a few days, helping out with the kids. On paper, it sounded like a sweet, family-oriented arrangement. In reality, it was a powder keg. From the moment Judy walked in, the atmosphere shifted. Little things, who sat where at the table, who decided what the kids would eat, how the house should be organized, turned into quiet, bitter power struggles. Yandy tried to keep it polite. She bit her tongue. She smiled when she wanted to scream. But Judy, fueled by her own sense of ownership over her son's life, pushed a little further each day. She'd make little comments. "I've been here since before you," or "This house is still my son's house." Words that might sound harmless to an outsider, but to Yandy, they felt like tiny cuts, each one reopening old wounds. Then came the breaking point. A simple conversation about household decisions spiraled into a screaming match. Judy accused Yandy of acting like the house was hers and hers alone, of trying to push her out of her son's life. Yandy, stunned but refusing to back down, reminded Judy that she was Mendeecees' wife, not just a guest, but a partner. The woman who held it down when he wasn't around. But Judy wasn't trying to hear it. Her voice got louder, sharper. And in a moment that would send shockwaves through the Harris household. She told Yandy to pack her bags and leave. "You don't run this house, Yandy, I do. This is my son's home, not yours. If you can't respect that, you can get out," Judy snapped. Her arms crossed like a judge delivering a verdict. Yandy froze for a second. At first, she thought Judy was bluffing, just angry and trying to assert control. But the look on her face said otherwise. There was no hesitation, no second guessing. Judy meant every word. Yandy felt the heat rise in her chest. She wanted to scream, to fight back. But something in her told her this wasn't a battle she could win in that moment. Not with Mendeecees gone, not with Judy's heels dug in the ground. So she turned away, blinking back the sting in her eyes, and walked to the bedroom to pack her things. It wasn't about the clothes or the shoes. It was about the principle. about being told to leave the home she helped build. As she zipped up her suitcase, her hands shook. Not from fear, but from rage and heartbreak. She thought about all the nights she spent fighting for this family, about the loyalty she gave, the sacrifices she made, and how, in a matter of minutes, Judy stripped all of that away with a single order. When she walked out of the house, she didn't say a word, but the silence between them said everything. Meanwhile, Yandy sat on the couch, arms folded, her face unreadable, but her energy cold. To her, this wasn't cruelty. It was setting boundaries. She believed Yandy had overstepped, that she'd forgotten who raised Mendeecees, who held this family together before she ever came into the picture. She acts like she built this family. Judy muttered under her breath, unaware that her words would soon echo far beyond the walls of that house. But this family existed before her, and it'll exist after her. What she didn't realize was that this wasn't just a power move. It was a declaration of war by the time Yandy closed the door behind her. The tension wasn't just between two women anymore. It was a family fracture, the kind that doesn't heal with a quick apology. The next few hours felt endless. Judy carried on like nothing happened, scrolling on her phone, humming in the kitchen. But everyone in that house, even the kids, could feel the shift in the air. Something had broken. Meanwhile, Yandy sat in her car, staring at the steering wheel, fighting back tears. She wasn't just angry. She was humiliated, betrayed. She'd been there when Mendeecees was locked away. She'd raised the kids, managed the household, kept the family afloat when the world was watching. And now, she was being treated like a stranger. Her mind raced. She wanted to call Mendeecees and unload everything, to make him understand what his mother had done. But deep down, she also knew the war she was about to ignite. Because when you pit a man between his wife and his mother, no one comes out clean. And this time, there was no going back to pretending everything was fine. As the sun went down that night, two women, one in the house, one outside it, both convinced they were right, prepared for the inevitable confrontation. What they didn't know was that Mendeecees was about to walk straight into the middle of it. And when he did, everything that had been simmering in the shadows was going to explode. Wen walked through the front door. The air felt heavy, thicker than usual, quiet but not peaceful. He'd been gone barely a day, but the house felt different. The toys scattered across the floor, with the faint smell of dinner still lingering. That did it. His temper snapped. "Don't do that," he shot back. "Don't act like she's controlling me. I'm a grown man, Ma. You raised me to be one. And right now, you're acting like I can't make my own choices. You kicked my wife out, the woman who had my back when I was behind bars. The woman who took care of your grandkids while the world judged us. You owe her respect, even if you don't like her." Judy's lips trembled slightly, though she tried to hide it behind her usual bravado. "I was just protecting my peace. I can't live under the same roof as someone who treats me like I'm invisible." Before Mendeecees could answer, the front door opened. Both of them turned, and there she was, stood in the doorway, suitcase in hand, eyes red but steady. The tension in the air could have split the walls. "I just came to get the rest of my things," she said, her tone calm but razor sharp. Mendeecees moved toward her, relief and frustration colliding in his chest. "Yandy, wait." She held up a hand. "No, let me finish. I'm not staying where I'm not wanted." Her gaze shifted to Judy, who sat with arms crossed like a queen on her throne. "You didn't have to like me, but you didn't have to humiliate me either." Judy stood, voice rising. "You've been disrespectful since day one, acting like you're better than everyone, like this family owes you something. I've seen women like you come and go." Yandy's jaw clenched, but her voice stayed composed. "Women like me? You mean the ones who stand by your son when no one else will? The ones who visit him every week in prison when the rest of the world turns their back? The ones who raise his kids, hold down the house, and build something out of chaos? Yeah, you've seen a woman like me. Because I'm the one doing the work you keep taking credit for." The room erupted. Mendeecees stepped between them, trying to keep his voice steady, but both women were beyond reason. "Enough," he yelled. Enough, both of you. This is ridiculous." They froze, the weight of his voice cutting through the chaos. He looked at his mother first. "Ma, you don't get to make decisions about my marriage. You just don't. I love you, but you went too far." Then, turning to Yandy, his tone softened. "And you stop letting every word she says get under your skin. You're giving her the power to control your peace. I can't keep doing this tug of war." Yandy's eyes welled up. "I didn't ask for a war, Mendeecees. I just asked to be treated like family." He sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "And I just want peace. But right now, this house feels like a battlefield." Judy shook her head, muttering under her breath, "It's her or me." The words hung in the air like a curse. Yandy blinked, stunned. "Did you really just say that?" Judy didn't flinch. "You heard me. I won't live under the same roof as her." Mendeecees looked from his mother to his wife, the two women he loved most, and felt something inside him crack. He'd been in impossible situations before, but this one felt different. There were no right answers. "Then maybe nobody lives here," he said quietly, "because I can't keep choosing between the two of you." The silence that followed was deafening. Judy's face went pale. Yandy's breath hitched. And for the first time, neither of them had a comeback. Mendeecees turned, walked toward the door, and stepped outside, leaving them both standing there, the house echoing with the sound of everything that had just shattered inside. Judy finally sank into the couch, tears forming, but pride holding them back. And Yandy, standing in the doorway once more, knew that this wasn't just about one fight. This was years of unspoken resentment finally exploding. And there would be no quick fix, because once the line between mother and wife has been crossed, forgiveness becomes a battlefield of its own. The night that followed was unlike any the Harris family had ever experienced. Mendeecees Harris sat alone in his car for nearly an hour after walking out of the house. Engine off, hands gripping the steering wheel, trying to calm the storm raging inside his chest. He had been through tough times before, legal battles, prison, media scrutiny, but nothing had prepared him for being torn between the two people who shaped his entire world, his mother and his wife. Meanwhile, inside the house, silence didn't mean peace. Judy Harris sat on the couch, staring blankly at the television that played without sound. Her pride was a shield, but deep down, doubt had started to creep in. She had told herself she was protecting her place in the family, making sure Yandy didn't erase her importance. But now that Mendeecees had walked out, the weight of her words, "It's her or me," echoed in her mind like a warning she couldn't take back in another part of the city. Yandy Smith Harris sat in the passenger seat of her friend's car, clutching her phone, tears finally spilling down her cheeks. She'd kept herself composed during the confrontation, refusing to give Judy the satisfaction of seeing her break. But now, away from the house, away from the battlefield, the dam burst. "This ain't fair," she whispered, voice trembling. "After everything I've done for that family." Her friend squeezed her hand gently, but didn't say anything. Words wouldn't fix this. Yandy scrolled through her phone, half expecting a text or call from Mendeecees. But there was nothing. That silence hurt more than Judy's words. Because no matter how angry she was, part of her had hoped he'd show up, hold her, and tell her they'd face this together. Instead, they were all stuck in their corners, licking wounds. Back at the house, Mendeecees finally walked in after midnight. He didn't say a word when Judy stood to greet him. His expression was blank, unreadable. "Son," she began, softening her voice for the first time that day. "I just did what I had to do, Ma." "Stop," he cut in sharply. "Don't do that. Don't act like this was about protecting me or some house. This was about control. You wanted to remind Yandy that you still have power. But what you did, you hurt both of us." Judy opened her mouth to respond, but he didn't give her the chance. "You crossed a line," he continued. "You disrespected my wife. And when you disrespect her, you disrespect me." His words hit her like a slap. She'd expected him to be mad, but hearing the quiet intensity in his voice, the kind that only came out when he was really done, made her chest tighten. "I'm your mother," she said finally. her voice small. And she's my wife, he shot back. The woman who held it down when I wasn't here? The woman who raised my kids like they were her own. You think you're protecting your place in my life, but what you're doing is pushing me away. Judy turned away, blinking hard to keep the tears from falling. She hated the smell of when her phone finally buzzed with his name, her hands shook. Mendeecees, we need to talk. Just us. Yandy stared at the screen for a long moment before replying. Okay, one conversation. But I'm not walking back into that house like nothing happened. I wouldn't ask you to, he wrote back. When they finally met up later that afternoon, the tension was thick but different. There was love underneath the hurt. He reached for her hand, but she didn't take it immediately. I'm sorry, he said softly. I should have been there. I should have made it clear a long time ago that what happened yesterday was never acceptable. Yandy blinked back tears. Your mother humiliated me, Mendeecees. She made me feel like a stranger in my own home. I can't just unfeel that. I know, he whispered, and I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to let me fix it. She took a deep breath. Then it can't just be me and you this time. It has to be all of us. You, me, and her. Because if something doesn't change, I can't keep living like this. He nodded slowly. Then that's what we'll do. But Ma's gonna have to understand my wife comes first. Period. Yandy's lip trembled as the wall she'd built around her heart cracked just a little. It wasn't a solution. Not yet. But it was a start. And somewhere deep down, they both knew this fight had changed everything. There was no going back to the way things were. Only forward, if they could survive it. The following week felt like walking on broken glass for the Harris family. The air was fragile, no yelling, no loud confrontations, just tension so thick it wrapped around the walls. Had convinced to come home, not permanently, but for one final conversation. He needed both women under one roof, not to fight, but to find closure. As Yandy's car pulled up to the driveway, her heart pounded. Every memory of that house, the laughter, the tears, the milestones, flashed through her mind. It wasn't just a home. It was the symbol of everything she and Mendeecees had fought for. And yet, walking through that door now felt like stepping into enemy territory. Inside, Judy was already waiting. Her hands were clasped tightly in her lap, eyes darting toward the door every few seconds. Mendeecees paced like a man caught between two storms, trying to calm both before they collided again. When Yandy entered, the silence hit harder than any insult. She set her bag down slowly, her posture straight, her eyes sharp. Judy looked at her, then away. Thanks for coming, Mendeecees said, his tone careful, measured like he was handling glass that could shatter at any second. Yandy nodded but didn't sit. Let's just talk. Yeah, Judy said softly. Let's. Mendeecees sat between them, his gaze shifting from one to the other. We're not leaving this house until we figure this out, he said. Because I'm not choosing between the two people I love most. But I can't live like this either. Yandy exhaled slowly. Mendeecees, I'm not trying to make you choose. I just want respect. I want to be treated like your wife, not like a stranger in my own home. Judy shifted uncomfortably. I never said you were a stranger. Didn't have to, Yandy shot back. Your actions said it for you. You kicked me out without a word to your son. Do you know how humiliating that was? Judy's chin lifted slightly, though her voice trembled. You made me feel small, Yandy, like I didn't belong in my own son's life. You took over everything. The house, the kids, even him. I felt replaced. The vulnerability in her tone surprised both of them. For the first time, the anger peeled back just enough to show what was really underneath fear. Yandy took a slow breath. Judy, I never wanted to replace you. I just wanted to be part of this family. But there's room for both of us, if you'd stop fighting me every step of the way. Mendeecees leaned forward, his elbows on his knees. That's what I've been trying to say. Ma, you don't lose me because I love her. You gain more family. That's how it's supposed to be. Judy looked down at her hands. The truth was, She had spent years building walls around her heart, afraid that any woman who came into her son's life would take him away. But hearing him say it, calm, firm, full of love, hit her differently this time. Tears welled in her eyes before she could stop them. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she whispered. "Either of you. I just didn't know how to share him." Yandy's anger began to soften just slightly. "We both love him, Judy. But we love him in different ways. You raised him. I built a life with him. There's room for both of us if we stop seeing each other as enemies." For a moment, no one spoke. The house was still the kind of quiet that happens when everyone finally runs out of things to yell. Then Mendeecees stood. "That's it," he said. "That's what I've been praying for. Not perfection, just understanding. We can't undo what happened, but we can decide how we move forward." Yandy looked at him, eyes glistening. "Then let's move forward the right way, with boundaries." Judy nodded slowly. "I can respect that." It wasn't a magical fix, the kind that ends with hugs and smiles and a perfect family dinner. But it was real. It was the first step. Later that night, after Judy went to bed, Mendeecees and Yandy sat together in the quiet living room. He reached over and took her hand. "I know I should have stepped in sooner," he said. "I just didn't want to make things worse." Yandy looked at him with tired eyes. "You can't fix everything, Mendeecees, but you have to stand up when it matters. You're the glue between all of us. If you don't speak up, everything falls apart." He nodded. "You're right, and I promise I'm not letting that happen again." She leaned her head on his shoulder, and for the first time in days, the house felt a little less heavy. Not healed, but calmer. The next morning, Judy knocked gently on their door. Yandy opened it, expecting another argument. But Judy's expression was different, softer, almost shy. "I made breakfast," she said quietly. "For everyone." Yandy blinked, caught off guard. "Oh, okay. Just eggs and toast," Judy added quickly. Nothing fancy. It was small, but it was something at the kitchen table. The three of them sat together, still cautious, still fragile, but united. The tension hadn't vanished, but for once. No one was yelling. As they ate in silence, Mendeecees looked between the two women and smiled faintly. Maybe, just maybe, this was the start of peace. Outside, the Atlanta sun streamed through the windows, lighting up the room where so much pain had been spilled just days before Jody set her fork down. "Yandy," she said softly, "I meant what I said yesterday. I didn't mean to make you feel unwanted. I need to learn how to let go." Yandy nodded, her throat tight. "And I'll do my part too. I'll make sure you always feel like you have a place here. Because you do." Judy smiled, a real one this time. "Maybe we can start fresh." Yandy hesitated, then smiled back. "Yeah, we can try." And in that fragile, imperfect moment, the war that had nearly torn their family apart finally quieted. Not because anyone won, but because they all chose to stop fighting. Mendeecees exhaled, looking at the two women who meant everything to him. "That's all I ever wanted," he said softly. "Family." But as every love and hip-hop fan knows, peace in this world is always temporary. Because somewhere, beyond that calm kitchen table and those forced smiles, the next storm was already brewing. And when it hits, the Harris family will once again find themselves fighting, not just for peace, but for survival. And there it was, the storm finally quieted, leaving behind silence that wasn't empty, but heavy with everything said and unsaid. Mendeecees Harris had been pushed to his breaking point. Yandy Smith Harris had been forced to stand her ground. And Judy Harris finally looked in the mirror at the pain she had helped create. This wasn't just about a fight. It wasn't even just about family boundaries. This was about years of buried resentment, unspoken fears, and a man torn between two powerful women, one who raised him, and one who built a future with him. Judy's decision to kick Yandy out didn't just break trust. It cracked the foundation of their family. And even though the confrontation ended with calm words and small gestures of peace, nothing was the same. Everyone knew it. Yandy knew that respect wouldn't come overnight. Judy knew that her control was slipping, and if she wanted her son close, she'd have to learn to share. And Mendeecees, caught in the middle, finally realized that silence isn't neutral. It's a choice. So the question is, will this fragile truce hold, or will it shatter the moment another storm hits? Because if there's one thing we've learned from Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta, peace never lasts forever. Whose side are you on? Yandy, the woman fighting for her place. Judy, the mother holding on to her son. Or Mendeecees, the man trying to keep it all from crumbling. Comment your thoughts. Subscribe for more real, raw, unfiltered drama. Because this story, it's far from over. The next chapter, it's already loading. The next chapter, it's already loading.